Thank you all so much for joining us tonight for this 4th annual MetaProp Demo Day at WeWork. The 4 companies that you'll all meet today have prepared for 5.5 months with us. We've spent every other week working intensively with them and working to help them grow. Today is the culmination of that in their graduation ceremony. Thank you all very much for joining us. This demo day is a little different from how we've done it in the past. It's going to be a bit more casual, a bit more in the WeWork style, more beer and pizza rather than dressed up. The agenda for today is pretty simple and mainly focused on the startups. We're going to start with a brief conversation on the future of work from Craig and Varesh, 2 executives at WeWork. Then we'll celebrate the Mentor of the Year, a mentor who's been particularly helpful to our startups this year. Then Aaron Block will give a brief overview of MetaProp over the past year. I'll then come back up and briefly discuss the accelerator program, and then I'll welcome the startups to the stage. And finally, we'll end the evening with a quick celebration, if you all would be kind enough to join us. All right. With that, I'd love to introduce our panelists for tonight. We're going to be opening the evening with a few thoughts on tech and the built environment from 2 executives from one of the largest and most successful PropTech companies in the world, WeWork. Craig Robinson is the global head of Powered by We services at the We Company. Prior to that, Craig has 20 years of experience leading commercial real estate service businesses within large global public companies, as well as mid-cap growth firms. Most recently, Craig was CEO of Global Corporate Services at Newmark Knight Frank. Varesh Sitta is Senior Vice President at WeWork and responsible for the overall go-to-market strategy and commercialization of Powered by We. Prior to WeWork, Varesh was actually based in Dubai, where he was the Chief Digital Officer of Amar, the largest property developer in EMEA. He's also served as the CIO for Alaska Airlines and also the CDO for Colliers. I'd also like to welcome up Aaron Block, our Managing Director, who will be moderating the conversation.
Thank you, Leila. I've had the pleasure of knowing these fellows now for a while, Craig a little bit longer. And Varesh, I think we met your first or second day at the We Company, which was fun. And what an amazing ride it's been. Thank you both for being here, and thank you all for attending. Wow, standing room only here. I'd like to kick off, because everybody's here to see the show for the startups, but I think we've got a really interesting topic to talk about here in tech and the built environment. How do you guys think demographic changes in technology will impact how we work in the future? Varesh, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Just to set the record straight, WeWork is not only about beer and pizza. We have kombucha and we have tea and we have lots of other stuff as well. Right? Look, there's lots of changes. You talk about demographics and you talk about technology, and just separate them for a minute. Demographically, there's fundamental changes taking place. With the millennial generation, we're seeing more than 50% of the workforce made up of millennials. But you're also seeing the senior population who's starting to retire, having very common purpose to this millennial generation. Their risk profile has changed. So they're starting to have more in common to the millennial generation. So that's shaping this blended workforce that you have in the built environment. Then you look at what's happening with technology, and you're looking at what's happening with automation. Work as we know it is fundamentally changing. There's work that will continue to be performed by humans. Then there's tasks that will be replaced through intelligent automation, and they should. There's no reason why humans should be performing those tasks. And then you're seeing augmented intelligence, so human tasks being augmented through artificial intelligence and machine learning. So the workplace is fundamentally being disrupted in 2 categories. Demographically, a huge change taking place, and technology fundamentally shaping it.
You know, I would also just offer that the conversation around work itself is fundamentally changing, right? people are looking for very different things in work than what they looked for 10 years ago, 20 years, 30 years ago. We have a very strong point of view that people are looking for their jobs to be fulfilling. You know, when I came out of college, it was just get a good job. Like the only the only thing I needed work to do is to pay me and be certain that it was going to be able to do that next week. Now people are showing up and saying, I want to be fulfilled, and we think that's really important, and we think there's a role to be played in creating that fulfillment, because on average, if you're fulfilled, you're more productive, you're a higher performer, and we think that the way in which we can do that through being very purposeful about how we integrate real estate, technology, and strategy to serve that up is really, really key. If you go back 3,000 years, the purpose of work was to survive. I was a hunter-gatherer. If I gathered enough food, I ate and I survived. Then the Industrial Revolution, it was about keep workers happy and they won't strike. So that's how we measure work. They didn't strike. Then for most of our careers, it was about engagement. And that's about, is someone going to work an extra hour if I don't pay them an extra hour? Are they going to come in over the weekend and crank it out? And we think that those days are over. People are saying, I want to be fulfilled, because guess what? If I'm not fulfilled at work, I can't be fulfilled in life. And so it sounds like beer and pizza, but we think it's really, really serious.
Thank you. Just really quickly, by show of hands, can we, by show of hands, if you are a technologist creating new startup or later stage scale-up company, can you raise your hand if you work in a startup? Can you raise your hand if you're an investor in startups? Wow. And can you raise your hand if you're an enthusiast from the real estate industry? So we've got a great mix of folks here. Some folks who are disrupting, changing, empowering, enabling. I think it'd be really interesting to hear your perspectives of how technology itself will be impacting the built environment in the coming years for this audience. Can you share a little bit more about your thoughts?
Yeah, a couple of things. Look, the built environment historically has been this monolithic, fixed asset that you engage with from time to time, but have zero flexibility to it. What technology has taught us and is enabling now is the ability to engage with these built environments fundamentally differently. Firstly, to start to engage with it more as a commodity or as a utilitarian service. So starting to think about space more as space as a service, as opposed to this fixed asset that I have to make this large investment and commit to it over time. So I see that fundamentally changing. But you know, we at WeWork are biased in that we think less outside in, we think more inside out. We really take the time to think about the user of that space. And we think technology is fundamentally disrupting that. When Craig talks about people in that space being fulfilled, at the core of our mission, that's what we focused on. And we think technology has a dramatic role to play in shaping how users of the space engage with that space. When you look at everything in their built environments becoming frictionless and hassle-free, we think that's the operating words we want to be using, is making everything frictionless and hassle-free. And the experience needs to be ambient. I shouldn't need to actively engage with anything to make something happen in a built environment. Technology is at a point through automation, through sensing, through IoT technology, machine learning, et cetera, everything in the built environment can be automated, should be hassle-free and frictionless, but in the aim of creating a better workplace experience that drives fulfillment. Of course, you can automate it to drive efficiency and take cost out and all of that kind of stuff. Millions of companies are focused on that. But I think the Holy Grail is really focusing on the people that are in the space and creating a more fulfilling experience for the people in the space.
And I think it's really important that the technology community and the community of innovators more broadly don't replicate the mistakes of developers who were the innovators in the 80s. Trammell Crow, build it and they will come. It was the idea that I focused on creating a product in hopes that somebody would demand it, right, and come in and consume it. We're starting from the other way around, right? What is ultimately the end user experience that I'm solving for? And I don't spend a lot of time thinking about what's going on inside of this iPhone. I just experience it. I don't care how the camera works. I don't care, how this actually creates the experience. I'm just experiencing it. And so in some ways, the more technology is seamless in terms of creating that experience, I think the more powerful. But I also think that there's a little bit of a misplaced, thinking about technology having to be something super exciting and everything has to be a killer app, right? Innovation was putting wheels on a suitcase, and that changed lives, right? I'm going to the airport as soon as I leave here. So it can also be very incremental, solving a very discrete and specific pain. And so, that's the way we think about things.
Great. I've seen mingling in the crowd top executives from people who've been at GE Capital Real Estate leading that, or Vornado, or Greystar in the audience here. And a lot of, I come, like both of you, have spent time in traditional real estate roles. For those of us who grew up in the real estate business and who are around traditional real estate, which areas of real estate do you feel like are most ripe for disruption from a we company perspective, and also personally, more broadly? Which specific areas are you most excited about from a technology perspective right now?
I'll start just because I spent most of my career in the real estate services space. I think there is so much low-hanging fruit that is not very sexy at all, but where there's tons of pain, right? I mean, you think about facility management. You think about the way services are delivered, as an example. There's lots of opportunity for innovation to go back and solve age-old problems that aren't going anywhere, but do it better, do it more effectively, and do it in a way that people experience it and think about it very, very differently. We happen to think that the barista who's serving coffee is a big, big part of that experience, right? Whereas someone else may be dismissive of the role and importance of that. So again, I think, how do we go back and use technology to change the way services are delivered, the way they're valued, the number of people that are required to deliver them? All of those are the types of things that I think represent huge opportunities. And I think a lot of the smart folks in the space are going to go chase really shiny, bright problems when there's some really old analog problems, information asymmetries, labor-intensive businesses that I think are really ripe for investment.
Yeah, I'll add to that. We like to think about what we call the E3 model, which is anything that we do at WeWork, we want to go after the trifecta of improving efficiency, effectiveness, and experience. To the extent your technology solution hits all three of them, you hit the trifecta. If it's not hitting at least one of these things, you have a losing product, right? So we either have to drive efficiency. People understand that as saving money. So how do we use the space more efficiently? How are we designing it more efficiently? How are we building it more efficiently? To the extent we can use robotics, robotic automation, et cetera, to become more efficient, with that is what we should be driving. Effectiveness has to do with productivity. How are we designing the spaces to be such that it's optimizing for productivity so people in those spaces are getting more done? And then the last piece is, how is technology in the built environments fundamentally transforming the experience that people have in terms of how they engage with the physical space? And if you have a product that does all three of them, WeWork, call us. We want to talk to you.
There's actually one more that I would add to that, because we've always thought about real estate in terms of very discrete spaces. Like, I think about real estate in terms of the workspace, and then retail is where people shop, and the home is where people live. But it's the same person going from place to place to place. Why do my needs and my expectations change based on where I am? So I think, to the degree that we can think about technologies that connect different spaces and create our fourth E, which is one ecosystem, one community, I think those are really powerful things that can really begin to take down some of the boundaries that are, if nothing else, in our own minds around these different and discrete spaces that the human being experiences over the course of the day, seamlessly.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up in a minute here, but I promised you no gotcha questions, and I'm going to deliver no gotcha questions, and it's a very friendly audience. But I would like to do, with your permission, a speed round where you get to just say one word or two words in a phrase to a word that I reveal to you now, and it's got to be quick. It's got to be your first instinct. Okay, all right. It's going to be the hard one first. Okay. The word is no-tell.
WeWork.
And sorry.
And the second word is the Creators Fund.
Awesome.
Bring them.
So everyone should look it up. WeWork's doing their Creators Fund, or the We Company is doing their Creators Fund. And it's really exciting innovation coming to support creators throughout the world here. And we're really appreciative, Varesh and Craig, that you've taken the time to spend here with the MetaProp community. And we look forward to showing off some of our best new technologies from the 2018-2019 program. Thank you very
Awesome.
much, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers,
So Aaron, don't go anywhere. Thank you so much, Varesh and Craig, for framing tonight's discussion for us. Before we continue, Aaron and I would like to thank WeWork for hosting us and in this lovely space. And all of our work at MetaProp hinges on the communities and companies that we work with. Tonight in particular is only possible because of our deep partnerships with Comcast, Machine Q, Fox Rothschild, Colonial, and Cushman & Wakefield. So we'd also like to thank them. All right, I would love to leave it with Aaron now to present the Mentor of the Year Award and also give us a brief overview of some of the recent updates with MetaProp.
Good. So we're going to get you guys to the presentations in 1 second. But I think many of you, and I see a number of you who are actually mentors in the RE 200 program, which was set up in 2015 to be a set of resources for our startups in the MetaProp ecosystem to be able to access enthusiasts, folks from industry, folks from technology, and folks from investment, be able to give them a little bit of their time and a lot of their love. And the startups like to give back by nominating a Mentor of the Year every year. Each of them in each class does this. In previous years, we've had great folks from the insurance industry, from the construction industry, and this year we have a new Mentor of the Year. So the partnership voted on the finalist nominees, and I'm proud to reveal that the 2018-2019 Mentor of the Year is actually my former mentor, ironically, John Santora from Cushman & Wakefield. John is traveling and unable to receive his award, so guess who gets to receive it for him? Yeah, that's me. Anyway, so thank you very much, John. We love you and we miss you, and you'll see the video when it comes out. I'm going to take the next couple of seconds and just kind of give everybody an update about MetaProp. We've been doing this for 6 sessions. This is our 4th year for our MetaProp Accelerator at Columbia University program. And speaking of Columbia University, there's a couple of VIP guests here who we have to thank. This program would not be successful or as widely adopted as it has been without Josh Pankton. Josh, are you here? Can you wave your hand if you're back here somewhere? There he is, Professor Pankton, yeah. And Dr. Chris Meyer is here somewhere. Chris Meyer, are you here somewhere? I thought I saw you. Yep, there he is, waving. So we've got a couple of the top folks from Columbia University, including, Zach Ahrens, Professor Zach Ahrens, who also is my partner for those, and co-founder of MetaProp, for those who are uninitiated. Anyway, very quickly, it's been a really exciting year. Since we were last year was at Blackstone, previous couple of years at Silverstein when we graduate this marquee growth program class for MetaProp. Last year was really different for MetaProp. We were running our acceleration program and our consortium business. We were just getting in deep with our advisory business, and our funds business was in the process of closing our second venture fund. We've got a bunch of our investors here. Thank you for all coming. Fast forward to January and February 2019, where we are today. I'm very proud to say that MetaProp is now deploying out of that second fund. We've raised and are deploying $40 million on behalf of institutions from around the world. Our investors are 87% institutional, and we are investing in the top early stage real estate technology companies from around the world. We're very, very proud of that. Along with those investing activities, we've actually rebranded. So that's something new for 2019. You might see our new business card soon, and you'll certainly see our website now called MetaProp.vc. We've got a few jobs open. We have 10 people now on the team. That's also something new. So if anybody's looking to change careers, hopefully nobody who's employed by any of these fine startups sitting in front of us, but MetaProp.vc/careers. We've got more exciting information there. And of course, we're still trying to lead the world and pioneering innovation. That's kind of been our MO from the beginning. Zach Aarons and I in particular have had a real passion for changing the real estate industry, along with partners who have been involved with us throughout the run, including Clelia Peters, Phil Russo, who's here today, really important people who share this bond and this vision of helping transform and change the real estate community. We're trying to continue doing that, and some things that you're going to see in 2019 that support that. Well, of course, more with Columbia University. They've been great partners. Our acceleration programs are pretty well respected now globally. People are calling us for advice, insights, and best practices. We're really proud of that, and we're very happy to share. Number two, Matt Hoffman, are you here? Yeah, there he is in the back. Our new partner from Enterprise Community Partners. We're investing together in technologies that are solving the affordability of housing problem, which we all recognize is a huge one. So $5 million going to be deployed into that in the coming months. Matt, thank you. We actually are sitting 2 blocks away from one of our newest concepts called PropTech Place, which is the physical home of real estate technology. Yes, that's right, the physical home of real estate technology. Come see us and the folks who work in the environment alongside MetaProp. We also have 4 live presentations of tomorrow's technologies, today's technologies, and thanks to Columbia University students, a history of the real estate technology space. Really fun over at 39th Street between 7th and 8th. I'd like to announce that we are currently in pre-sales for Zach Aarons and Aaron Block's new book called PropTech 101. And some folks who are really key in developing that are in this room as well. Phil, looking at you, buddy. Thank you very much. It's on Amazon for pre-sale now. We look forward to sharing that with the world on March 26th when it becomes available. And any of you who will be at MIPIM in Cannes, France on March 13th, we will be having a party, so please look us up. And one thing that hasn't been announced to anybody whatsoever is that Safi Aziz, who leads our investor services, the support that we provide the investors in our funds, is launching an executive fellowship program for individuals who are in middle management, senior management, sort of large real estate organizations to help support their education, networking, and change management initiatives that they can then go and bring back to their large organizations and help transform the world. Mitchell Shear, that was one of your ideas, believe it or not, originally. So thank you very much. So thank you all very much for being here. We've got a lot of excitement in this coming year, as you can hear. So please sign up for our newsletter, be in our world, come talk to us, shake hands, and let's give these startups a lot of love. They've been prepping really hard. It's been 22 weeks of blood, sweat, and tears, and this is the celebration of all their good work. So thank you very much. Leela?
Thank you so much, Aaron. And thank you, everyone, for being here again. I'd like to introduce this year's accelerator program and our accelerator programs more broadly. MetaProp began as an accelerator. Even as we've evolved to become a venture capital firm, as Aaron just explained, our accelerator business and the way that we work with companies through the accelerator has remained core to what we do and to who we are and to how we invest. To date, we've run 6 programs across 2 continents. We've received over 1,400 applications from over 40 countries. In total, we've accelerated 28 companies, and those companies have gone on to collectively raise over $50 million in venture funding after graduation. This event tonight with all of you is really a crucial moment for this year's grads to highlight their plans for expansion and their growth to date. It's really an exciting launch-off point for us all. Thank you for being here for this important night. So without any more delay, we're proud to introduce you to the 2018-2019 MetaProp Accelerator at Columbia University class. We'll kick things off with Rafi, CEO of Avir. Rafi seems to see things that other people just can't. At first, everyone thinks he's crazy. And then, but then it's kind of amazing. We at MetaProp have seen the construction industry, the asset management industry, the broader venture community over the past couple of months catch up to Rafi's big vision for the future of construction and asset management. So I'd like to welcome Rafi to the stage to tell us more.
Hi. This is my eldest son. His name is Caleb, and he's really cute. But besides that, my wife and I know that every single thing that happens to him now and over the course of his childhood is going to impact the person he becomes as an adult. So we're trying to get it all right. The thing is, we know even now he's 2, he's grown up a little bit since then, we can't monitor every single thing that he does as helicopter parenty as we'd like to be. And that problem is only going to get worse as we send him to school, and more people become involved in raising our child. He's going to go from teacher to camp counselor. There's not going to be a way for us to effectively observe everything that he does over the course of his childhood. This is a baby too. This is a baby building, and these are her parents. Some nice developers over here. They also know that everything that happens during this building's formative years, during construction, is going to impact what this building ends up becoming. But they also have the same problems that we face with Caleb. They don't have a way to monitor everything that happens during construction. So errors and mistakes are missed. Missing errors cost over $1 trillion a year in rework costs. And the problem of shared ownership of a building or shared control is kind of built into the process when it comes to buildings. When construction is complete, the general contractor hands over control of the building to the property manager. And the information loss that occurs in that handoff causes $800 billion a year in waste due to inefficiencies in property management and renovation. And if you're hoping that there's some kind of institutional knowledge or memory, well, that all exists in that head of this one guy, and his mind is not insurable. Hi, my name is Rafi Holzer. I'm the CEO of Avir, and we are building a single source of truth for buildings. Completely dynamic and always up to date from construction through decommission. During construction, you can use this digital twin of your building to immediately identify mistakes when they're made, to track progress of the construction process, and once the building is complete, we can start layering in additional streams of data, whether it's your building automation systems or the Internet of Things that the WeWork group was talking about a little bit earlier, so that you can know what is happening with your building and inside of your building at any point in time. Now, there are a number of companies, lots of companies, frankly, that are trying to solve problems in the construction space. And there are more companies that are trying to solve problems in facility management. The thing is, all of these companies are missing the bigger picture. Construction and operation and maintenance are not two different things. They're part of one building life cycle. And Avir is the only company that's actually addressing building problems holistically, carrying buildings, creating a system of record for buildings from the very beginning, from inception, all the way through decommission. So, how do we do it? We start, fittingly enough, in pre-construction. We start with what's known as a building information model. It's a set of 3D building plans. The building owner or the general contractor uploads those to us. We then start scanning the job site. Anybody can do the scanning. The GC can do it. We can do it for you. It can be done at any time and with any device. Those scans are then uploaded to Avir as well. And then our algorithms compare the reality as represented by the scans against the designs as represented by that building model. We can identify discrepancies between those two data sets, so we can identify construction errors or delays as they happen. We then surface our findings to the right stakeholder and let them know they can take one of two courses of action. Either they can take action in the field to update the building to actually correct the error that's occurred, to bring it in line with the plans, or they can click a button and update the plans so they're now in line with reality. And then ultimately, you get to use this digital twin to better manage your building. As we layer on all those additional data streams, you get to control your elevators, your air conditioning systems, monitor your use of energy, all in one place. We decided to target mission-critical owners, so owners of mission-critical assets, specifically in 4 sectors. We're looking at health, data centers, oil and gas, and municipal construction. And in each of these sectors, we are now working with a strategic blue chip client who are not only paying us for our service, but are actually actively engaged in making sure that our product becomes what it needs to when it reaches adulthood. The market opportunity is massive. We are, just in construction monitoring, there's a $12 billion opportunity that expands to $15 billion once we move into the building management space. And it truly explodes once we can bring all this technology not just to new construction, but to existing assets. Our team is comprised of experts in machine learning, software development, product management, and sales. That's these guys. And I'd like to end by saying, bringing it back to Caleb, because we care about our children, we get to know them really well. If you care about your building, you need to get to know it well too. And Avir is really the only way to do that. Thank you.
Next, we have Garen, co-founder of Reezy. Before we met Reezy, we had probably looked at 50, maybe 60 residential blockchain deals. It wasn't until we met the Reezy team that we really developed conviction around how blockchain could really transform the home buying experience. Garen would love to introduce you to everyone.
So this may be a little less common in New York City, but if you've ever bought a home, you know how incredibly stressful it can be. It's a huge financial decision, but what you may not realize is how stressful it can be for the realtor. This is the Jones family, and that's Sharon, their realtor to guide them through the process. After years of saving and months of negotiations, the Joneses finally have a dream home ready to buy. Sharon hands them off to an escrow agent after years of saving, and so the escrow agent emails them to wire over the money. And they do. A few days later, the escrow agent emails them to wire over that money again. As it turns out, that first email actually came from a hacker. And in an instant, this family just lost their life savings. Sharon, who has little to do with escrow, is now on the hook. But it's going to be very difficult for her to recover those funds. A pretty scary thought. Scarier still, what if I told you that this happens 1 in every 40 transactions? Just last year, wire fraud accounted for $5 billion in stolen funds. That's a 25,000% increase from 2016. With no end to fraud in sight, home buyers are no longer safe. Today, buying a home is like running a really disorganized relay race using insecure batons. Let me explain what that means. The transaction is touched by up to 25 different people, with the home buyer's personal information passed around 10 to 15 times amongst parties from offer to close. Sensitive information like bank accounts and social security numbers are revealed. How this information is transferred is at the root of the problem. Paper checks, fax machine which refuses to die, and poor email practices are shaky handoffs that expose the buyer to financial attack with little to no recourse. I'm Garen, co-founder of Reezy, and we've eliminated the insecure handoff. By utilizing blockchain, the most secure financial technology, we offer the world's first fully integrated home closing platform. Industry incumbents have been providing the same specialized service for decades, like brokering, lending, and insuring, with little to no knowledge of each other's adjacent services. They've evolved into manpower-intensive, siloed companies. These are those labor-intensive industries that the panel was just discussing. With such a large separation in roles, integration becomes impossible, resulting in little to no security. And when they communicate, there are no standard practices. These shaky handoffs allow hackers to infiltrate with incredible timing and accuracy, and this creates the optimal conditions for that explosion in fraud. Even the latest title and escrow startups are not proactive enough. While they provide some transparency through the use of an online dashboard, they've stuck with specialization. The same error and fraud-prone practices still persist behind the scenes. Without integration, fraud doesn't go away. These companies have focused on transparency, and they have failed at security. Reezy offers a revolutionary, holistic solution that is completely automated. Blockchain shields all information exchanges. No other option gathers the entire process under one roof with untamperable integration. And because of this, only Reezy's customers can enjoy the peace of mind and convenience of a truly secure transaction. Let's walk you through our process. So once the buyer finds a home, their realtor directs Reezy to create an autonomous blockchain concierge that guides them through the remaining steps. All users have to do is click. Sharon, the realtor, starts by crafting an offer directly on Reezy's app. She then invites the buyer as well as the seller and their realtor to the negotiation. Under Sharon's oversight, the buyer negotiates with instant counteroffers. After the purchase agreement has been signed, Sharon can order title commitments or mortgage through our select partners directly on Reezy's app, with real-time updates on a shared workspace for everyone to view. No need to manually file applications from scratch. In fact, Sharon can do all of this while sipping on a pumpkin spice latte in one hand. Meanwhile, Reezy guides the buyer to deposit their funds. All payments, including the down payment, are handled directly through Reezy. Manual wires are no longer necessary. When all the commitments and requirements have been met, our concierge auto-closes the transaction. The buyer receives the deed to the house, and the seller and the realtors receive deposits directly to their bank accounts. Realtors dig us because we place the power to close in their hands. Sharon now becomes a one-stop shop. She can do a better job with her clients, assuring them through the stressful home buying process. Each wire fraud occurrence is a scandal that devastates the buyer and Sharon's business. But Reezy puts out those concerns so that she can focus on her core competency, which is building and maintaining relationships. And not only that, she saves her clients thousands of dollars. Typically, an escrow and mortgage charge about $12,000. We do it for half, while providing ironclad security and a better experience. The reason hackers are so focused on real estate might be obvious to you. This is one of the largest markets in the world. They're like sharks, and there's blood in the water. $3 trillion is transacted insecurely in residential real estate each year in the United States alone. Reezy is positioned to protect these dollars. $110 billion is generated annually in mortgage and escrow fees alone. So we've removed friction, locked in that trust, and realtors cannot wait to use us. When we joined MetaProp, we had created a couple prototypes. Since joining the accelerator, we've created multiple brokerage partnerships, released our private alpha product last month, and in the few weeks since, we've already received over 35 letters of intent from realtors and brokers requesting access to our beta product. Changing the way they do things is a huge deal for realtors. This underscores just how important it is for them to find a product with better security and with better value. Our team was able to create this much needed platform because we happen to be some of the biggest nerds around. Some of us are Trekkies, and we actually argue about Star Trek or Star Wars way more than we should be in the office. But we're also PhDs, inventors, blockchain thought leaders, software masters, as well as realtors, loan officers, and title and escrow managers. Collectively, we provide the innovation that's desperately needed in the home transaction space. We're removing fear and friction from one of the most important financial decisions that people make in their lifetimes, buying a home. And we passionately believe that this is exactly how blockchain should be used, for security, savings, and convenience. We want to protect the American dream from those that would steal your life savings in an instant. At Reezy, we want to help families like the Joneses buy their dream home and keep it too. Thank you.
Who has had the unfortunate experience recently of flying into or out of LaGuardia? I'm so sorry. If you've had that experience, you may have encountered a bit of salvation from our friends at JabberBox. I'm very, very happy to introduce the CEO of JabberBox, Jeremy.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for flying into LaGuardia, and thank you more if you've used the JabberBox. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to talk to you about a few different things that we all face. Workplace distraction. Last year, US companies accounted $600 billion in costs associated with workplace distraction. That's a lot of money, and that's only inside the office. Think about what it is outside the office. True story, case in point. I was coming out of the subway and got pinged for an important call. My first thought was, where do I go? Well, yeah, I could take it on the street, but after the first siren passed, I realized that probably wasn't a great call. I jumped into a building lobby. Excuse me, sir, this lobby space is only for guests, visitors, and tenants. Can you please leave? I ran into a Starbucks expecting to be able to take a call. It was loud, crowded, music pumping, coffee beans grinding. Where could I go? I ended up taking the call, walking around Dwayne Reed, pretending to look at merchandise while on the phone with a client. Technology has given us the ability and the tools to work where, when, and how we want. However, an unintended consequence is that there's simply nowhere to go. A privacy crisis is occurring. No one has solved it until now. Hi, my name is Jeremy Jennings, co-founder of JabberBox. We are creating a global ecosystem of on-demand, reservable, conveniently located spaces in loud and busy environments. You kind of think of us like Zipcar for space. Shared economy, on demand, and we really cater to mobile workers. A mobile worker, I am a mobile worker, like many of you. A mobile worker is defined as someone that works outside their home office or corporate office for 10 hours a week. We can do this because we have the tools to do it. We have a laptop for our big stuff, a phone, AKA supercomputer, for our quick stuff, and our earbuds for our sensitive stuff. The one missing ingredient from that toolbox of productivity, a user-controlled space. What if finding and reserving your own personal space was as easy as hailing an Uber? Now it is. With our app and technology, it's as simple as search, reserve, unlock. Let me show you the space. This is where you're going to go to get into the zone. This is where you're going to find your quiet, private, connected space. This is your JabberBox. Within the JabberBox, a suite of amenities. There's a 24-inch touchscreen, camera, speaker, microphone, super fast encrypted Wi-Fi, basically anything that a mobile worker would need. And guess what? There's a lot of mobile workers out there. In fact, in New York City, there's 4 million mobile workers every day. If we step back a little bit and look at the US, that's 105 million mobile workers. Globally, a whopping 1.8 billion mobile workers. And guess what? That's not going down, that's only increasing. That's 45% of the global workforce. If you remember that $600 billion statistic that I said earlier, if you apply the same calculation, the same methodology, we're looking at a $2.6 million market in the US alone, accounting for mobility. It is massive. So how are we creating a global ecosystem? Glad you asked. Let me tell you. First, we had to build the vessel. So when we surveyed the market, there was nothing that was intended for public space. Everyone probably has a phone booth, right? You have a phone booth in your office. There's lots of them out there. Even WeWork has phone booths. But imagine taking that wooden pod with a plexiglass door and sticking it in the middle of Grand Central Station. I promise you it would not end well. So we set out to design, engineer, and build our privacy solution. And that privacy solution was fantastic. In fact, it was so fantastic, we were sought out to solve for privacy within commercial office. We've driven over $3 million in revenue in the last 2 years with clients like this. Step 2, build a consumer service. The LaGuardia people in the audience might know this. This is our first activation at LaGuardia. When we take our unique vessel and add in our proprietary technology, we unlock JabberBox as a service. In this space, we are a consumer service. We charge $30 an hour in increments of 15 minutes up to 2 hours. We're live today in 3 airports. We have a 4th airport going live on Friday, JFK. And we'll have 25 airports by the end of the year. The airport network is alive and thriving. The third step, there's an old adage in real estate, which you guys have heard all the time, location, location, location. It couldn't be more true for us. In order to be ubiquitous with on-demand space, In order to be part of your daily routine, we need to be where you need us when you need us. That means building out markets in urban cities. This year we're focusing on 3 markets: New York, San Francisco, and Chicago. We'll be in commercial building lobbies, like you see here. This is actually Chicago Merchandise Mart, a Vornado building where we are a tenant amenity. Tenants use us for free, and visitors pay by the hour. So our users love us, and they tell us this every day. My favorite quote actually from a user is, "Superman had a phone booth, I have a JabberBox." Of course, none of this would be possible without a strong founding team and advisor. Brian Hackathorn, former principal of Studios Architecture here in New York, spent his professional career thinking about and designing how people worked within the 4 walls, within the office, and was the first to see how you might work outside of the office. Andrew Southern has built large control systems for entities like Related, the Viceroy Hotel Group, amongst others. And I have built brands and businesses across segment in both public and private companies. We are guided by the former CEO of Starwood Hotel Group and the current chairman of Convene. Now I have one last question for you. How much is your time worth? Thank you.
Furniture was one of those rare deals where the entire team wanted to be a customer. All of us, me, Aaron, Zach, everyone wanted to be a customer, even though we're all of different demographics. In fact, we all wanted to be customers so much that we used furniture to furnish PropTech Place, our new office. So I'd like to welcome Mike to the stage.
Thank you, Leela. Hi, everyone. So by quick show of hands, how many have had a pretty hard time finding that perfect piece of furniture for your bedroom? Don't be shy. Design safe zone here. And a lot of you didn't raise your hand, so maybe you had this problem for a different room. Maybe it's a living room or a dining room. Okay, it seems like a lot of you know what you're doing. I don't know why I'm asking. But finding one piece is hard. For furnishing a room, that's even harder. But you know what's even worse? 2 rooms. You have to furnish an entire house? That is borderline impossible. It's a big, big problem. Who do you go to? What? Who do you go to? Who do you go to? What do you do? Who's here to help you with this problem? I'm Mike, and I'm here to show you how technology is solving this problem. Let's look at the available options today. They all play on different degrees of convenience as well as affordability. You might recognize some of these logos. The more convenient you get, generally the more expensive it becomes. And the more affordable it is, the more inconvenient it is. When you look back at IKEA, for example, that's not a great place to buy furniture. It actually destroys a lot of relationships. It's not a great place. I've lost a few friends, but we won't go into that tonight. There are tech options available as well, but again, varying degrees of convenience and affordability. And this is assuming that it's actually available in your city. There isn't a good solution out there. What we offer our furniture is the most convenience as well as affordability at scale. Let's look into how we do it. This is the competitor's process. There's a lot of middlemen in play, and it's just way too expensive and takes way too long. At Furniture, we remove the middleman because of our tech. Our back-end system streamlines the ordering process. We hold no inventory. Well, so once an order has been placed, that's when we start sourcing all the product from the manufacturer. We ship all the product to your home, and then we go to your home to do all the setup and take away all the boxes. Our tech system reduces our total cost by at least 35%, so we pass on the savings to you, and we're able to make our margins really strong. Our logistics network spans across the entire continental US, as well as in Canada. And this is our front-end platform. It makes it a seamless process for you to furnish your home. In just a few clicks, you're able to furnish your home with zero hassle. And we've broken it down into 3 simple steps. First step is you tell us about your room. What does your space look like? How many rooms you need to furnish? What style preferences? And most importantly, what do you need? We process this information, and then our backend it works a little magic, and we create personalized room designs for you to purchase. Because we source directly, we're able to pass on savings of at least 20% off to you. From here, all you need to do is just sit back once you purchase it and just relax. Within 1 to 2 weeks, we do a 1-day delivery, install, and cleanup. So you can get your entire home furnished within a few hours and just enjoy it. So you might be asking, how do we get these room designs? What's this magic that Mike's talking about? We use an AI algorithm with some human loving. Our proprietary AI incorporates our professional design knowledge as well as our product database of over 60,000 products from our over 250 manufacturers we work with. So this sounds really great, it's a tech-enabled solution, but how many times am I going to actually use this? To furnish my entire house or even just one room? Well, it's a problem that's a lot more common than you think. Young professionals that are moving frequently don't want to deal with the furnishing process. They just want somebody else to take care of it. Property managers and Airbnb investors don't want to deal with the shopping either. They just want to have their places furnished. Commercial offices have common spaces that need furniture for their guests. And of course, divorcees, they just want to have a comfortable place to live in. The problems I described apparently happen sometimes to Aaron, but the problems I described happen 3.3 million times a year and for a market size of 22 billion. And we're already capturing our share. In 2018, we delivered into 19 cities across North America, and we were able to increase our revenues by 583%. And since we joined MetaProp, we've been able to refine our focus on working directly with property managers, developers, and distributing our product, narrowing down our target market, and then after growing our team. We're on track right now to do 1.3 million in 2019. Since we introduced our tech-enabled supply chain, we've been able to save more money, pass those savings on to our customers, and our customers absolutely love us. Our product is really great, and we don't sacrifice on quality. Customers are finding us organically right now through content marketing, partnerships, social, and word of mouth. But this all isn't possible without an incredible team. We're uniquely set up to be able to solve this problem. I've moved a lot. I've moved about 15 times over the past 10 years. My co-founder, Karen, has a unique background in interior design and machine learning. I don't even know how that works, but she's smart. I have a background in innovation marketing, strategy, and business development. We've been able to grow our team and attract executive talents that have backgrounds in logistics, home furnishing, retail, as well as real estate. I'm Mike, and we built the only furnishing solution powered by the first tech-enabled supply chain. Tell your friends, tell your family, check us out. We're on a mission to make your house into a home. Thank you.
We're going to end things on a more serious note. In many ways, it's a scary time in our country. In particular, there's been a lot of conversation around gun violence and public safety. We're frankly really proud at MetaProp to have backed a company and to be working so closely with a company that is directly, every day, making schools safer. I'd like to welcome Sunny from Aegis AI.
So I grew up in South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa. If you ever visit, you'll find that it's quite an idyllic place at first glance, much like any other city you would find in Western Europe or North America. But if you just spend a little bit longer there, you'll find that things are a little bit more tense. People have their defenses up, and nobody really walks alone at night. Almost every home is protected by electric fences, metal cages, and private security. You see, South Africa has one of the world's highest rates of gun violence. And growing up, I heard harrowing tales of friends and friends of friends who robbed at gunpoint, carjacked, and even fatally shot. Growing up, my biggest fear was a home intrusion. And because I grew up with this fear, I developed a lifelong passion for wanting to address the issue of gun violence. 20 years ago, one of our close family friends was fatally shot in his own home in Johannesburg. And because of that, our family decided to immigrate to the United States. And while the United States is a much safer country, we have a significant gun violence issue of our own. Over the past 5 years, there's been 150,000 shootings in the United States, leading to over 71,000 deaths. In fact, over 10 times the number of Americans have been killed due to domestic gun homicides. They have been killed by enemy action due to the global war on terror stemming from 2001 to present, which is absolutely mind-blowing. As a Marine Corps officer, I was always taught to take bias for action. And therefore last year, I decided to put together a team to figure out how can we best use technology to save lives during gun violence incidents. We interviewed law enforcement leaders across the country, and we found that the biggest pain point in gun violence response was a lack of timely and accurate information. With information, law enforcement leaders will be able to respond immediately to gun violence threat with pinpoint precision. And with information, your building occupants can take the immediate measures to make the critical decisions they need to maximize their chances of survival. Instead, these situations are marred by mass chaos and confusion because nobody knows what's going on. So if you're a school superintendent or the director of security at a commercial occupier or a commercial property manager, what are your options? Well, you can start with metal detectors. These things typically cost somewhere between $5,000 to $30,000, but then you need to hire an FTE to man them full time during working hours. Worse than that, it creates huge entry bottlenecks for your staff entering into the building during working hours. On top of that, it doesn't really add in incremental value if somebody decides to just ignore the metal detectors and start shooting. You can opt for potentially acoustic or sound-based gunshot detection systems. This technology basically identifies the sound of a gunshot when a trigger is pulled. But then you have to install expensive sensors throughout your building that can quickly become cost prohibitive. And on top of that, it really provides limited value in terms of providing that real-time information as the situation unfolds. Lastly, you'd opt for armed security. But then you're hiring FTEs that are doing nothing 99% of the time. And think about it, would you really want to work or learn in an environment that feels like you're walking into a fortified military compound? So if you really want to invest in a security solution that was cost efficient, non-intrusive, and provides end-to-end value during a gun threat situation, there are really no good options until now. Aegis is the world's first security solution that can begin triggering law enforcement response and early warning as soon as a weapon is drawn. Our deep learning software connects with your existing security camera systems, which means no hardware installation is required, and we can identify gun threats with well over 99.9% accuracy. I want to share some screen captures of the Aegis model running on real-life security camera crime scenes. As you can see, it works in a variety of challenging environments, such as a black gun on a black shirt, or some lower resolution camera frames. So what makes Aegis so revolutionary compared to existing security solutions? Well, first of all, it's cost friendly, just like I mentioned earlier. There's no hardware installation required, and at $20 per camera per month, it costs a tiny fraction what armed security or existing technologies would cost. It's non-intrusive, which means that unlike metal detectors, millimeter microwave scanners, and armed security, your building occupants aren't going to feel like they're walking through a TSA checkpoint every time they come to work. Most importantly, it provides life-saving capabilities. It provides that early warning so your building occupants can immediately trigger defensive evacuation measures and provides that real-time critical information to law enforcement so they can respond 2 to 3 times faster than they currently do. So one of the most encouraging things when building this company is the overwhelmingly positive feedback we received from the institutions that we worked with. We believe that Aegis needs to be in every single school building and office building in the United States, and we believe that because that's what our users have told us time and time again. So just briefly on the market size, we conducted bottoms-up analysis on the real-time gun detection market in terms of based on our pricing strategy, and found that it's an $8.5 billion total available market. In addition, an outside market research agency conducted some research on the overall video analytics segment and found that this is estimated to grow at 34% CAGR over the next 5 years, which presents a really exciting opportunity for us. So over the past several months, we've been running like the wind. We've already onboarded 7 institutional customers with 216 cameras under implementation. Now here's the kicker. Our company did not exist 9 months ago. These 7 customers that we're working with right now alone represent at least $500,000 in ARR potential, and we expect that by summer of this year, we'll hit $100,000 in run rate ARR. Just briefly about our team. My name is Sunny Tai. I'm the CEO and co-founder. I spent 9 years in the United States Marine Corps. After I came back from Afghanistan in 2012, I attended business school at the University of Chicago before going into management consulting and starting Aegis. My co-founder and our chief product officer, Ben Giomek, is here with me. He's somewhere in the back. He spent 4 years at Microsoft leading large teams of data scientists and AI engineers, and he was the first employee at a business unit that he helped scale from 0 to $110 million in revenues in less than 18 months. Min Tran is our chief data scientist. He brings extensive machine learning, computer vision experience to the table on the academic side. Jacob Weiss is our wonderkind backend engineer, 24-year-old that recently graduated from Washington University in St. Louis's computer science program, #1 in his class. Senia and Jorge are 2 University of Chicago MBAs who help us out with growth strategy and business development, respectively. I'd like to leave you here with my favorite quote from anthropologist Margaret Mead. "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." It is my hope that through our relentless efforts and your support, we too can be these citizens that help make our communities a little bit safer. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for your presentations, and thank you all so much for your attention. I'd also like to very quickly thank again WeWork and the Creator Fund for hosting us. In particular, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you, but I'd like to thank Tanae and Julia and Emily, and in particular Kimberly, who organized all of the logistics for this.
And of course, I think we all owe a big thank you to Leela, under whose leadership this program has been running for quite a long time now. This is the last program you're running with MetaProp, but I say you're going out with quite a bang. Thank you so much on behalf of all of our startups, all the partners at MetaProp, all the partners in Demo Day. You've really knocked it out of the park. Thank you for all of your hard work, too. Round of applause for you.
Thanks, Aaron. This is my last demo day. It's a little sad. I also would like to thank our other partners, Comcast, Fox Rothschild, Colonial, and Cushman & Wakefield. Without all of you, it would have been very hard to pull something like this off.